What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents alike? This your boy Enlightened Luciferian Prince coming at y'all once again. Earlier, I spoke about the legal definition about what we realize as far as the definitive context of what we are addressed as and who we should properly be addressed as people in this continent, as far as in this legal construct. But I will say this. For people who are disheartened or people who have a differentiation about what they should be addressed as or who they should be addressed are, it's all defined within still legal definition. Now, the title of this video, which is a video I put up yesterday, was called Article 9. Article 9 was considered of secured transactions in regards to the UCC-1 or the Uniform Commercial Code. Now, the Uniform Commercial Code, as I said in the previous videos, has to fall into compliance with certain state statutory regulation that has to coincide with commercial law. What I will say is this. A lot of people who actually take positions as judges or who take positions as public servants, and in reality, their cloak personality is considered chief banker, then what they're supposed to do is to operate under the scheme of the law of merchant and to basically make sure that they place a debt against you, the natural person, and want you to secure a debt based upon a schematic indifference of what we call fraud. That's all it is. In other words, in simplistic terms, they're basically taking a debt that is placed against you and making you pay for the debt in absence of them actually being liable for it because you take on the full liability to yourself. You know, simple. That's just the way it is. There is no other way. But if you doubt what I'm saying, let us bring the war machine here. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Article 9 under the Uniform Commercial Code that governs secure transactions are those transactions that pair a debt with a creditor's interest in the secured property, which is basically the surety. Article 9 regulates the creation of security interests and the enforcement of those interests in movable or intangible property and fixtures. It encompasses a wide variety of possessory liens and determines the legal right of ownership if a debtor does not meet their obligations. The UCC is a standardized set of business laws that regulate financial contracts. It has been fully adopted by all states in quote-unquote the corporate U.S., with the exception of Louisiana, which is still owned in lien and title as obligated to France. Though some states' legal codifications of the UCC don't exactly match the text of the official UCC. Louisiana has not fully ratified the code, although it has adopted a version of Article 9. The code itself has 9 separate articles. Each article deals with separate aspects of banking and loans. The UCC better enable lenders to loan money secured by the borrower's personal property. Let us break it down in simplistic terms. The UCC enable so-called authority or lenders to loan monies or interest secured by the borrower's personal property, which is normally considered, in this instance, their personal self. The UCC was drawn up and ratified by most states in the 1950s. Golly, you gotta love that Jim Crow era, don't you? A recent addition to the code covers corporate electronic payments in the 1950s. I don't think that was viably possible, but you do your historical research in that respect, you'll see something totally is amiss in that sense. The UCC undergoes frequent revisions that address specific articles. Under Article 9, if a debtor defaults on their debt, the creditor may repossess the secured property. Under Article 9, if a debtor defaults on their debt, the creditor may repossess the secured property. If you are the secured party, and the United States is declared a debtor, that means that any debt that's associated with you, you may repossess the property, which is basically the contract in which they enforce against you. Something for you to know. For example, Suppose that Alex brings the computer to be serviced by Sam. Upon completing repairs, Alex does not have the funds to pay for the work, so Sam keeps the laptop as collateral, which is basically the tangible property or transferable property. Under state laws in general, if Alex and Sam are residents of the same state and the business they are engaged in takes place in their state, then there will be no further complications in the discussion. However, if Alex and the Sam reside in different states, the transaction occurs across state lines, also called interstate commerce. Then, without the UCC, a legal controversy might ensue to the laws of the states in which they differ. Legal differences between states might be significant enough to prevent or deter Alex and Sam from doing potential business with each other in the first place. The UCC helps resolve this potential problem by harmonizing commercial law across different states, which is basically, in this sense, not territorial, but states as far as being is concerned. Both states have adopted UCC in Article 9 that Sam may keep the computer until payment is received. Now, they're speaking to you in layman's terms, but because you don't understand the definition or the legalese of it, you are stuck in the matrix or the conundrum of trying to differentiate between who you are and what is the transferable property. Whenever you put your signature down on a piece of paper, you are making yourself responsible for the payment of a debt. I don't care what no one says. You are basically putting yourself down as surety and as insurement or as an insurance of something that you don't even understand the legalese of what it is. But you sign anyway. Just think back to how many contracts you've signed over the duration of your life period. Just think for a brief moment in time. You've decided that you were considered surety for another individual that indeed you knew didn't even exist. See, when I started speaking about this entity, the strawman particular entity, what they would say on Google is a fallacy, is very true. Look up strawman in Black's Law Dictionary and then look what Google gives you as a definition. It will show you a difference in between what they want to consider a fallacy and what you should consider as an altruism. Now, if you wish to obligate yourself to the system as far as being surety and accommodating yourself from documentation to make yourself liable for debts, please shut this video off and keep on pushing. But if you would like to know the information on how to discharge debts, which will be in the next video, and to how you yourself can attribute to you personally to making the government system responsible, then stay tuned. It is what it is. Now, I know a lot of people on other channels or other networks have a variance about this. That's fine. But until you provide the receipts in regards to what these processes are, I say this with the most sincerest and the most astute perseverance to what I say. Shut the fuck up about a remedy you know nothing about. Because a lot of people and a lot of y'all have paid for remedies and services upon people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They've hijacked these sources and they hijacked these credibilities, but they've never been through this shit themselves. I've been through it several times. And I'll be damned if a person can tell me anything different when I oppose the beast on these premises itself, face to face. No lawyer, no paperwork, no support, no nothing from the outside. And still deal with these same forces until this very fucking day. And still maintain and still can handle these same forces that a lot of you don't have a fucking clue about. To some, it may seem arrogant what I just said, but I'm being realistic. I put the work in for this shit, and I know exactly what works. Because it's all about having a conscientiousness about the unification of absolving yourself of the debts in which they want to attribute to you. If you don't want to hear what I have to say, that's fucking fine. And I will only chalk it up in the basis of you being an agent to the system in which you fucking serve. Straight. Because if you can't provide evidence or proofs that what I'm saying in and of itself is not real, your voice has no validation in my universe. And fuck you. Blatantly saying. Straight. In the discussion. Your first time viewing this channel, like and subscribe. Anyone that wants to inquire about services or personal information, please drop an email. Anyone who is serious and not even instituting themselves to waste my time in regards to their processes and are dead serious about the situation, please drop the email. If you want to be an agent or an informative type of being to want to waste my fucking time, let me tell you something. I will not respond. Period. Because I know that you're trying to subvert the movement of people who are trying to liberate themselves. And right now, we don't have time to waste on your bullshit. Go to somebody else's channel who's of a low vibrancy and of a low frequency. You go deal with those people. Not over here. Simple. Divine. And in tune. Simple. Light, love, and peace. Agents, fuck you. Don't contact me whatsoever. Under no consent, nor do I oblige to entertain you or your false premises. Y'all stay tuned. Stay tuned! Because guess what? The next thing is discharge.